Hi, I'm Tim Sanders, founder of the Omnia Radiation Balancer. Welcome to my presentation of our heart rate variability results on the Omnia stickers and pendant range. We tested 12 people to see how their heart rate responded to wireless radiation fields before and after using the Omnia technology. We have some great news to share with you, but this is a dense topic, so I'm going to explain a little bit more about HRV before going through the results. First of all, what is HRV? Your heart is always beating at variable intervals, even when the body is at rest. HRV is the ability of the body to change the frequency of the heart rhythm. So imagine that when you have no exposure to any stress, your heart might go like this. Boom, 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 boom. Irregular heartbeats like that are healthy. It denotes that the body is self-regulating in real time. The heart is dealing with anything that comes up, with the assistance of the autonomic nervous system. That is the result that we want to see. When the body experiences physical strain or psychological stress, this can cause the heart rate to increase. So we always illustrate this by saying, imagine that the electrical currents in all of our cells want to spin like this, in balance. And along comes a heavy dose of wireless radiation and it spins like this. And we know from all our other tests that the cells in the body start to vibrate in sympathetic resonance with the imbalance in the radiation field. So what does this do to the heart? What can happen to the heart is that it starts beating faster and at more even intervals, like this. Boom, 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 boom. And this is not a good thing. The lack of variability in the heartbeat means the body is not dealing with the stress well. The heart is fighting something and it's in a defensive mode. And that's not what we want to see. So what we are measuring is whether we see signs of the heart reducing in adaptability when the body is exposed to electromagnetic fields from wireless devices. And if it is, then we want to see whether using the Omnia sticker or pendant will reverse and improve that adaptability. Remember, a higher adaptability to stress is shown by a greater variability in the heart rate. How is HRV measured? Our HRV study was done by a German testing laboratory called the IGEF, which is known in English as the International Association for Electrosmog Research. The IGEF uses a machine called the VNS Analyze Commit HRV system. VNS stands for Vegetative Nervous System. It's an important factor in measuring heart rate variability. The VNS consists of two main nerves that control and regulate our entire body: the sympathetic nerve, the tension nerve, and the parasympathetic nerve, which is the relaxation nerve. These two nerves control our heartbeat, blood pressure, hormonal and immune system, digestive activity, sexual organs, muscle tone, everything. Electromagnetic radiation will excite the body's vegetative nervous system, but this happens at a level that most people do not physically notice. So we're not aware of the type of effects that we're going to show you now in our test results. We're not aware that they're even happening in our bodies. However, the COMET HRV system detects even the smallest reactions of the heart. So this helps us demonstrate what's really going on. It records the change in physiological signals of the test candidates, which is the feedback from the vegetative nervous system. In these tests, the IGEF assesses the impact of the orb sticker and the orb pendant by measuring the heart rate variability before and after using the orb. Then it analyzes the data using mathematical statistical methods. The results are presented using four main data displays, which we're going to show you now: the rhythmogram, the histogram, the stroidiogram, and the VNS parameters bar chart. Let's look at the rhythmogram first. It plots each heart rhythm interval in a straight line, one after the other, so you can see if it goes up and down or not. You can see the heart rate measurement on the left axis. This is a good result, and the reason for this is we have a wide range of heart rhythm intervals swinging between 700 and 1050 milliseconds. So this is an even spread of variable results, meaning the heart is adapting well and can regulate the vegetative nervous system. This rhythmogram shows a bad result, and we know this because there is a very tight range between the highs and lows, about 740 to 770 millisecond intervals. This suggests very little variability and no adaptability to what is causing the stress. So we're going to see whether any of our test candidates move from poor HRV to good varied HRV after using the orb. Now let's have a look at the histogram. The histogram charts the ranges of measurements taken and shows the percentage of each range. Here we're looking at a wide range of measurements, which is good. If we see the highest bar, it accounts for 35%, and the other 6 bars account for 65%, which means the readings are well spread out. This suggests good heart rate variability. By contrast, this is a chart showing poor HRV. There are only 2 bars, and one of those bars is at 80%. This shows a very tight range of heart rhythms. There is no variability or ability to adapt to stress. So we're going to see whether any test candidate with a tight range moves to a more varied, broad spread of heart rate measurements after using the orb. You can see here that 80 came down to 35%, and the range is now more spread out. In the stroideogram, you see the results as a scatter plot. On the left, we have bad variability, because all the measurements are in a tight range of about 700 by 700. On the right, we have a broader, more scattered range of results. The size of the ellipse is an important visual effect to look for. We want to see a spread out range of results. The larger the scatter cloud is, the more variable the heart beats, the better the vegetative nervous system can regulate. A highly condensed cloud means that the heart always beats evenly and can no longer adapt individually. Next is a bar chart showing the range of parameters we see when the vegetative nervous system is measured. HF represents heart rate variability, the basis for measuring the vegetative nervous system. It records every single time interval from heartbeat to heartbeat in milliseconds, known as the RR interval. There are 520 RR measurements, and an average is displayed on the x-axis, which here is 67.7. The alpha 1 value is an additional risk parameter, and it indicates the quality of regulation. The higher it rises, the more compensation processes take place in the body. The average displayed here is 1.2. The SDNN is the standard deviation, i.e. the total variability. High SDNN equals high variability, denoting better adaptability of the autonomic nervous system. The lower the SDNN, the lower the variability, and thus vegetative regulation is restricted. SI is the stress index, the tension nerve, measuring the response of the sympathetic nervous system. Here the average is 61.6. RMSSD is the parasympathetic or relaxation nerve. If it is not in the green zone, body tension clearly predominates. We can assess this as a regulatory disorder depending on the result, if it's light, medium, severe regulatory blockage. Here we see an average of 47.4. After thousands of HRV tests, researchers agreed that there is a recommended band within which these parameters should fall. It's called the green zone, and you can see here that all results are in the optimal range. There is in fact a traffic light system which shows the reds are either far too high or far too low, amber is almost in the green zone, and the green zone is the best place to be. Just to recap, good HRV is demonstrated when 1. There is a good range of highs and lows in the rhythmogram. 2. The histogram shows width across a range of bars, each at a low percentage. 3. The stroideogram is showing a good ellipse effect, which denotes a good range of heart rate intervals rather than a tight-knit scattering. 4. all bars on the VNS parameters graph are either approaching or in the green normal range. Now let's crack on and show you what you've been waiting for, the Omnia HRV results. I'm presenting the results so that you can see before readings on the left and after readings on the right, and we can clearly see all the changes on one page. The first 6 results were done using the Omnia sticker on the wireless devices. Candidate 1. In the rhythmogram you can see a narrow channel here between the highs and the lows, and that improves once the orb sticker is applied. We see higher highs and lower lows. On the histogram, we can see a narrow range of readings, with one column peaking at 80%, which also shows in the tight stroidiogram. Then you get a wider spread after the orb is used, and the highest bar is at 40%, and you can see this on the broader ellipse. On the VNS, the vegetative nervous system bar chart, there's nothing in the green zone, with 3 high bars and 2 lows. After using the orb, 4 bars are returned into the green zone, and the RMSSD is higher and almost there. Overall, this is a significant improvement. Candidate 2. In the rhythmogram, a very tight range turns into a much more varied range with the orb. On the histogram, you see a tight range with one column counting for 70% of the reading, showing a very tight stroidiogram. And this fans out really well after using the orb, showing a much more scattered ellipse too. On the VNS bar chart, 3 of the readings are well out of the green zone, and these readings are brought back into this channel after using the orb. Overall, it's a very clear improvement after using the orb. Candidate 3. In the rhythmogram, there's not much difference between the channels. On the histogram, it's the same. The candidate was dealing with wireless radiation quite well, and that doesn't change with the orb sticker. On the VNS bar chart, there's also hardly any change, so this is one of the lucky people who doesn't react badly to wireless radiation. Candidate 4. In the rhythmogram, tight highs and lows turn into more varied range after the orb is in use. On the histogram, the candidate has a good spread out range, although one bar is at 50%. There is quite a good range on the stroidiogram, but both these charts improve significantly after using the orb. On the VNS bar chart, there's only one reading outside the green zone, and using the orb brings them all into the green zone, which is really good news. Candidate 5. In the rhythmogram, there is a bit of variety, but this is improved even more with the orb in use. On the histogram, the candidate has a good range spreading out over the bars, with the most popular reading at 30%, and also quite a good range on the stroidiogram. However, both of these graphs are improved even more when using the orb. On the VNS bar chart, there's only one reading outside the green zone, and this reading improves after using the orb, bringing all readings into the green zone. Candidate 6. In the rhythmogram, there is a good range of highs and lows, which stays the same after using the orb sticker. On the histogram, there's one bar reading accounting for 50% of the measurements, and the stroidiogram is quite tight, and both these readings spread out after using the orb, showing more variability of the heartbeat. On the VNS bar chart, you don't see a huge change after using the orb, so the conclusion is that the orb did not significantly improve this candidate's readings. Now we're moving on to the results of the pendant testing. Candidate 7. In the rhythmogram, there's good variety, but it gets better after using the orb pendant. On the histogram, there's a good spread with the top bar at 30%, and after using the orb, we see a slight improvement in the scattering of the ellipse. On the VNS bar chart, you can see that using the orb brings 3 of the bars into the green zone to make a full house, and this is a significant improvement. Candidate 8. In the rhythmogram, there are hardly any peaks or troughs. It's really flatlining, and this improves dramatically after using the orb pendant. On the histogram, there is a narrow range of results, with the high bar taking up 60%. This means there is a narrow spread of results on the stroideogram. Both these charts are reversed after using the orb, with a wider range shown on both. On the VNS bar chart, only 2 readings are in the green zone, but after using the orb, all 5 readings are in the green zone, which is as good as you can get, a big improvement. Candidate 9. In the rhythmogram, it's a very flat line, which improves a lot after using the orb. On the histogram, there's a very narrow range of bars, and the top bar accounts for 60% of the readings. This shows in a very compact set of dots on the stroideogram. Both these are improved after using the orb, a wider, flatter set of bars, and much more scattered readings on the graph. On the VNS bar chart, there were 3 readings outside the green zone, 2 of which were brought back into the optimum channel. This is a strong improvement overall. Candidate 10. In the rhythmogram, it's a tight range, no major difference between highs and lows, and this only changes slightly after using the orb. On the histogram, there's 1 bar accounting for 55% of the readings, which denotes lack of variability, and this doesn't change after using the orb, nor does the spread of dots on the graph. On the VNS bar chart, we have 2 readings that are outside the green zone, and these don't move after using the orb. So the conclusion is that there is a negligible change. Candidate 11. In the rhythmogram, we have a very flat line, which improves dramatically after using the orb. On the histogram, there's quite a narrow bar range and a narrow set of dots on the stroideogram. Both of these become much more spread out after using the orb. On the VNS bar chart, 3 readings outside the green zone are all brought in line, which represents a significant improvement caused by using the orb. Candidate 12. In the rhythmogram, there is very little divergence of highs and lows, which improves a lot after using the orb. On the histogram, there's a narrow range of bars, one of which is at 50%. The stroideogram is in a tight range. Both of these improve dramatically after using the orb. On the VNS bar chart, there are 3 readings which are outside the green zone, and all of these are restored to the optimum range after using the orb, meaning that this candidate experienced a significant improvement from using the orb. So there you have it, and here is our summary of the results. 12 people were tested by the IGEF on radiation fields ranging up to 5G. 9 of these experienced positive results. 4 of these improved significantly, the other 5 just improved. 6 of the 9 who showed improvements from using the orb were moved into the green zone for all parameters, which is the best result that can be achieved. 3 of the 12 showed little improvement. 1 of these 3 was on heart medication. The other 2 were only somewhat limited by the wireless radiation, and they used the Omnia products for less than 3 days, which may also have been a factor. So that's a wrap on the HRV results. We hope you learned something new and that you appreciate the positive results that we achieved. One conclusion that we would like to make from the results recorded by the IGEF is that everyone is different. Everyone responds in different ways. The heart is super sensitive, and there could be underlying reasons why people don't register an improvement. This is why we always urge you to test for yourself that our technology is bringing benefit, which you can do at home with a simple muscle test. Find out how to do the muscle test on the Omnia website. Or if you have any other questions, please feel free to shoot us an email. And finally, here is the IGEF certificate that they issued as proof of their recommendation of the Omnia Radiation Balancer. There's one certificate for the sticker, and there's another certificate for the pendant. This is more positive evidence of how the orb will bring balance back to your body. Thanks for watching.